So what did happen to my son? Well, I was working out one day at the gym, and I received a phone call from my son's mother, and she told me that my son CJ had been in a horrible accident, and he was in the process of having emergency flap surgery on his brain so that they could remove part of the scalp to allow his brain to swell outside of his skull. Now you can imagine, I'm hearing this, I'm like, what in the world? I was lost. And I said, okay, what happened? I was told that CJ fell off a bunk bed and fell and hit his head. And I was upset and angry because there's some history behind that bunk bed, and I had made my 2 cents, so to speak, about the bunk bed not even being arranged and put up and placed in the room because I knew that he wasn't of age. And parents are supposed to protect our children to the best of our ability. And I think sometimes, as human beings, like, we get apartments, houses, and we feel lesser than if we don't have it fully furnished, or whatever the case may be, but I don't think that it's more important than a child's life. That's my personal opinion. Now, as I get off the phone, I am driving home, and I panicked. As a parent, we all get this gut feeling about our children that God gives us, and we know when our child is in some severe danger or not. And I knew for a fact that this was a horrible situation. So I couldn't see. I was crying, tears flying, and there was a police car that was attending an accident that was adjacent to me in my driving path. And I lost control of my body. I couldn't function. And I was headed straight for the cop car and almost crashed into them. And at the last minute, I was able to swerve and remain on course home. And it had to be God steering. I've never even told anyone this story. Had to be God steering the car, because I know for a fact that I was having a panic attack in the car while I was driving, and I couldn't breathe. Tears was flowing. I couldn't see. So when I came to is when I wiped my eyes. I could see. I was like, oh, and I swerved back, and I was able to avoid getting into an accident. I make it home, and I sat outside the house for about 15 to 20 minutes, and I was trying to collect myself, because now I realized I had the task of speaking to my family. My oldest daughter, Naya, and my mom were in the kitchen, and I was praying, Lord, please help them to be somewhere else so I could just go inside and avoid them. That was not the case. I walk inside and I see my daughter, and I collapsed on her. Boom. CJ's been in a horrible accident. I'm crying, and I couldn't get the words out. what happened and what's wrong, what happened. After a while, I finally get it out, and my mom was like, you gotta go down there, you gotta go. So I book a flight to Atlanta, and my boy D Brown picks me up from the airport and drops me off to the hospital, Children's Hospital in Atlanta. And I never told him this too, but I was like, damn, I wish you didn't leave me. I wish you could have came inside with me, because man, I just felt so lonely, you know, and I didn't know what to do. So as I get inside of the hospital now, I walk inside. As I'm walking down the corridor to the PICU, I believe it's called, it was, I never forget this, there was holes in the wall on the way there. I thought that was odd. I'm like, what kind of unit is this where they have holes in the wall? Like, this don't seem too inviting. And I get to around the nurse's station, and I'm like, good afternoon, my name is Carlisle Richards, and I'm looking to find my son. I heard that he was coming out of surgery, and I need to find out where it is. Can you please help me? Say it calm and gentle, you know, because I'm just looking for information. I don't know anything, you know. So heard crickets, no answer, no response. So what was my first inclination? Honestly, the women that were behind the nursing station were of a different color than me, and I thought I was being racially profiled, you know. Truth, I'm just being honest. I didn't hear anything. Then I stood there for a while and realized that I felt guided to my son. Something told me to keep walking, so I kept walking. I walked down the corridor and ended up bumping right into my son's room. So I go in the room and I see him, all these tubes in his nose, everywhere, his head swollen, wrapped around with bandages. And I was devastated nonetheless. I couldn't breathe. I was like, oh my God, I was in there screaming. And how could this happen to my son?